Welcome to the Mental Advantage Podcast. Whether you're an athlete trying to perform at your best when it counts the most, a coach or business leader trying to get more out of your team, or someone looking for more personal growth, this is the place for you. This podcast is your map to guide you to the right mindset, systems, and strategies you need to become the best version of yourself. And now, here's John Cullen and Brandon Allen.
Brandon, we have a great guest on the show tonight, Steve Springer with Quality At Bats. You, I know, are a fan of his content as well. I can't wait for this conversation.
I mean, he's a guy that he's just got that infectious personality, and I think what the listeners are going to hear is a guy that knows how to compete. He's a guy that knows what's important in the game and how to compete in baseball specifically. But, you know, it translates to, and I know we say this a lot, but it translates to other aspects of life. And, you know, having quality effort, regardless of the outcome, it's just, he's spot on.
Yeah, and, you know, it's funny you say that about his personality. Is you could tell he was just such a great teammate. You could tell he's somebody that you want in that dugout with you and just going to grind. And man, when listeners, when you all hear his story, you'll understand what we're talking about with that grind. So Steve Springer, for those of you who aren't familiar with him, is a former performance coach and major league scout for the Toronto Blue Jays. This is a guy that after not starting in high school his senior season, he gets cut in college. He still was drafted by the Mets after a breakout junior season, where he finally, you know, had gotten back into the college game. And after years in the minor leagues, he eventually collected his first major league hit with the Mets. And then just did a little thing like went on and played over 14 years as a professional baseball player and compiled over 1,600 professional hits. And after 33, or I guess it's over 35 years actually, as a professional player, agent, and scout, he wrote the book Springtime, My Amazing Journey from High School Benchwarmer to the Big Leagues to Mentor of Major League All-Stars. And then he's, of course, as you'll hear in this show, the founder of Quality At Bats Academy. And he's currently working as a scout for the Oakland A's with his I think at one time former roommate was Billy Beane. He talks about that in the interview. Yeah.
Well, and don't forget, he's also working on a movie, right?
That's true.
He says it's the Rudy of baseball. So, you know,
man, if that don't get you fired up about the potential for that movie, I don't know what will. And look, after listening to his story, I can easily see where that would be the Rudy of baseball for
100%,
sure.
100%.
Yeah,
I agree.
So get your pen and paper ready, guys. Here's Steve Springer. All right, Brandon, as we just introduced, you heard in the intro there, we have Steve Springer with us tonight. And man, am I fired up. This is Spring is somebody that you can't help. If you've ever watched his YouTube videos, if you've seen, had the fortune to catch one of his DVDs or heard him speak at one of your travel events or high school events, or if, college players, I mean, he's talking to everybody, major league players. But we're so fortunate to have him on the show tonight. So just a little bit that you all heard there is, Steve spent over 14 years as a professional baseball player and compiled over 1,600 professional hits, and over 35 years as a professional player, agent, and scout, and wrote the book Springtime, like we just talked about in the intro, and founder of Quality At Bats Academy, and is currently a scout for the Oakland A. Spring, man, we're so happy to have you on. Welcome.
Oh, bro, I'm looking forward to it, man. I love doing these. I love my story. Everybody's got a story. I love my story, man. Yeah. You're talking to a guy that didn't start in high school. I got cut in college. I played in the big leagues. Now All-Stars come. You're telling me you can't do what you want to do in life?
Right.
We better change what we think success is then, if that's the case, because I love speaking all over the country. I've spoken in front of 6,000 coaches 3 times. I was the mental coach for the Toronto Blue Jays for 8 years. And I didn't start in high school and got cut in college. It's mind-blowing.
It's an amazing thing. Yeah. Do you remember, tell us a little bit about that journey, because I want the listeners to hear this. But every time I've heard you talk about this, and I've had the fortune a few times to hear you, is I just am always just shaking my head, so just help the listeners catch up with how you kind of got to where you are now.
I know, because you think that, in my mind, everybody knows who I am, but probably less than 1% of the baseball world knows, because it's that big. But, it's like I said, everybody's got a story. And, I'm from Huntington Beach, California. I've lived here my whole life. I have a brother that was 1 year older than me, who was like, we call him Gary the Great in my book. I mean, he was an absolute stud. And when I was a freshman in high school, I was 4'11", 90 pounds. And I made the team because my brother was the star of the team. I got 3 at-bats the whole year. I coached first base, never played. My sophomore year, all my buddies went up to JV and varsity. My brother went straight to varsity, and I was on soft frosh again. But I got to play. I would rather play at a lower level than sit the bench at a higher level. Remember that, guys. All right?
Yeah.
You want to play. And my junior, all my buddies are on varsity, and I was on JV. But I got to play some more. I would have been sitting the bench on varsity. My senior year, it's my time to shine. I got nobody ahead of me. I'm 5'8", 140 pounds now. So I grew 9 inches in high school. I went from tiny to small. I was a small senior. But I'm going to show them I could play. And I had a sophomore take my job. I did not start my senior in high school. I coached first base. And where I'm from, Huntington Beach, I got 50 colleges within 50 miles of me. And I did not get one phone call to come play for. I'm thinking my career might be over. My brother went to Golden West Junior College. So I'm thinking the coach might call me, right? Because my brother's the best player on the state. But he didn't call me. And so I'm like, okay, well, I went out for the team anyways, and I got cut, which is baffling how bad this coach thought I sucked. Like, my brother's the best player on the team and in the state, and I got cut. So I did what anybody would do. I got a job at Disneyland working on the canoes. My uncle was a supervisor, and I was on. He got me a job there so I could be on the softball team, because softball was huge there. I was like their ringer. So technically, I'm still playing. And about 3 days later, my brother came home with the uniform because 3 guys quit. So I was 19 years old, freshman in college, Golden West Junior College, on the team, happier than you know what. And I got 3 at-bats the whole year. And I ended up playing in the big leagues. So any kids out there that, you've been told your whole life, oh, you're too small. And no, bro, nobody's too small. When you get your man body, you're going to be able to shrink 2 inches if you have the ability to play this game. It's not about being tall. It's about being a baseball player. It's about having body strength. It's about having instincts. It's about being able to play defense. It's not about being 6'4". Like, what's Altuve, 6'5"? This guy's 5'6", a good player. Cleats on. And I think I'm tall? No, right there. Really? Pedroia? 5'7"? Really? Oh, he was an overachiever. No, he wasn't, bro. He was a really good player. Right. But because he was 5'7", we think he overachieved. This is the best thing about baseball is you don't need to be 6'2". When I used to scout with the Diamondbacks when I stopped playing, and I'd see this guy with this great body, and he was like 6'4", 200 pounds, glasses on his hat. Man, my antennas went up, and I'm not getting tricked by a body. I'm looking for baseball players. And in saying that, I grew 4 inches when I was 20. So now I do have a new body. I'm 6 foot, 170 pounds now. And I just worked on the canoes for 2 years. So I got stronger working at Disneyland. And now I went from a second-string second baseman to an all-conference shortstop in 1 year. And I'm getting recruited by all these colleges. I had a full ride to Long Beach State, full ride to Irvine, full ride to UCLA. My best friend, Rich Amaral, is going to UCLA, who spent 9 years or didn't get to the big leagues until he was 29 years old and got 9 years in the big leagues. Talk about grinding. Right? He's going there. So my dad's favorite school is UCLA. I got a full ride to UCLA, and it was the greatest 5 days of my life until he looked at my transcripts. He's like, really? But he took badminton, tennis. Don't get me wrong, Brian. I could play some badminton. I beat the number 3 5 times in a row before he beat me. The coach is like, you got to come out for our team. And I'm like, yeah, if it was in the fall, I would. but it was baseball season, so I couldn't get in. And I don't know how I got in the University of Utah. My buddy Sean Gill was at Golden West, and he went to Utah. And they got a new coach, Lonnie Keeter, and he had 2 scholarships, just got the job. He said, if you get this dummy in, bro, you want him. And so I think I took a correspondence course to get in. And I went there as a shortstop. I hurt my arm, and I ended up DHing the whole year. And it was all whack DH, had a really good year. And this is the best thing about baseball, because whether you're in travel ball, high school, college, if you're lucky enough to play pro baseball, you are evaluated every single day that you play. And we had 50 scouts in the stands one day at Brigham Young to see Rick Aguilera, Wally Joyner, Corey Snyder, Kevin Towers was there. Scott Nielsen played in the big leagues. And I went 5 for 5 with a bomb, 2 doubles, and 5 RBIs that day. Okay. And I guarantee it was the day that got me drafted, because it was the very first day I played the outfield in my life. The scout never heard of me. I just went 5 for 5 with a bomb, 2 doubles. He said, I'm turning this guy in. I ended up getting drafted in the 20th round by the New York Mets as an outfielder. And I sucked it in the outfield. The ball would be in there and be like bouncing. I'm like, how do you catch that? I think a lot of balls hit to me. And I ended up hitting like 246 with 11 home runs, went to Little Falls, New York. I was not used to playing every single day. Kids out there, and you want to play pro baseball, it's 5 at-bats a day, every day, whether you want them or not. You better be strong. You don't need to be told. You better be strong. I never played that many days. I never played in a collegiate league. I never played during the summer. I wasn't good enough. But now I'm getting 5 at-bats a day every day. I was so tired. My brother got picked up by the Tigers, and we went home that off season and we lifted. And we got in that weight room. We got bigger, stronger, faster, not taller. And kids out there, when you're in high school or college during the off season, every other time you want to go hit, go lift weights, man. Get a new body, right? You get a new body, you get a little bit of strength. What does that mean? It means the ball comes off the bat a little bit hotter. What's that create? It creates confidence. And what's this whole game about? That's about competing with confidence. And so I went to my first spring training, and I barely made the low A ball team as the 5th outfielder. So for the first month of the season, I got like 20 at-bats, and I'm coaching first base again. I'm like, I got this, guys. I'm almost pro at it, right? I've been doing it my whole life. How do you handle not playing? All right, this is huge right here, because you might be in high school, you might be in travel, you might be in college, you're not playing. Here's how you handle not playing. You take batting practice like it's your game. You take ground balls if you're an infielder in batting practice like it's your game. You take fly balls during batting practice like it's your game. And you pull for your teammates, and you be ready when that coach calls your name, because he will call your name. And I remember like it was yesterday. Our second baseman got traded, and I told my coach, I said, Coach, I'm an infielder. And I swear to you, he paused, and he said, well, thank God you suck in the outfield. And I'm like, I know, I'm an infielder. And so he lets me play second base. Everything's going great. 8th inning ground ball double play right between my legs. So that sort of sucked. I didn't play about a week. Steve Phillips was the other second baseman, right? The great GM and on MLB radio. He's the best. I loved him. And so he got to play. And about a week later, let me play second base again, and everything was going really good. 8th inning ground ball double play right between my legs again, but I got 4 hits that day. And anybody out there, you want to play at any level, you have to hit. And I ended up every single day the rest of the year. I ended up leading the league in hits. Even though I missed the first one, I led the league in hits. I had 50 hits in August. I was second in the league in hitting behind Vince Coleman, who could fly. Right. And I still didn't know what I was doing, but I could hit that fastball. So I go to instructional league. They're treating me a little bit different, sort of a prospect now, because I was signed as a filler. And 1 year got me to, okay, well, let's see what this guy could do. I go to instructional league. I come home that off season, and me and my brother, same thing. And our buddies that were playing pro baseball, Rich Amaral, Sean Gill, we were lifting bigger, stronger, faster. So I go to my second spring training. Now I'm working out high A ball, and I see my farm director on the first day, and he's like, Spring, man, how's everything going? You have a good off season? I said, you know what? Yeah, everything's great. I don't mean to be an idiot, but I just led the league in A-ball in hits. And I feel I should be in double A. And this guy looked at me, paused, walked away, didn't say a word. I'm like, well, that went great. And it did go great, because the next day I was in double A. It made sense to him. My double A team, we had 18 guys playing the big leagues. Right. Wow. And then when I go speak around the country, I'm like, you saw the money ball? Everybody raised their hand. I'm like, oh, I was in his wedding.
Yeah.
Billy Bean, not Brad Pitt. I was in Billy Bean's wedding. And he was everything. It's just like his book said. He was 6'4", 220 pounds. He had power. He had speed. He could throw. He could do it all. But he had football mentality. He was a perfectionist. And he's a great guy. And I think he gets a bad rap because he was a better player than people think. But, he was drafted with Darryl Strawberry, first round. John Givens, this is my buddy. He was my roommate too. And, we won it all that year. And the next year I go to AAA. So 3 years ago, bro, I'm coaching first base in college, and I'm one step away from the big leagues.
Unbelievable.
And I spent 11 years in AAA. And at the time, I'm like, really, God, 11 years, huh? And now I know why he put me in AAA for 11 years to do exactly what I'm doing right now. Because when I'm talking to a dad of a 10-year-old, a girl softball player, a major league all-star, my message is the same to every single player that I teach.
Let me ask you this question. So all I hear is persistence. It's relentless effort. It's everything, right? It's like keeping up with the grind and all that. Where did that come from? Was that, the way you were raised? I mean, where does this ability just to just grind it out, where do you think that came from?
I think there's two reasons. One, I knew the alternative of getting a real job.
Yeah.
I'm lazy, so I didn't really want to do that. And two, I felt I was good enough to play there. I spent 11 years in AAA. I was MVP of my AAA team my last 4 out of 6 years and never got a chance playing in the big leagues for a real good, I feel blessed that I got to the big leagues twice, but I never got a chance when I was there. And I believe that my brother was just a huge part of my life because I was competing my butt off every single day because my brother, if you read my book, he's called Gary the Great. Right? And he hated losing. He'd cheat if he had to. So I'm battling this guy my whole life, I got a movie coming out, bro. We got a baseball version of Rudy.
It's awesome.
I signed the contract today and it has legs. So I'm like, without my brother, I'm probably not who I am today.
Yeah.
So Spring, how do you have success early on, and then you just and you're very, very vocal to player personnel and all that. How do you get through 11 years in AAA? Like, how do you mentally, because like you said, now you're helping people, you're helping folks navigate it. Sports psychology wasn't around back then. It wasn't around for John and I when we were playing. How do you mentally grind through that 11 years?
I believe that I was with some really good teammates that taught me a lot. I had some really good coaches. Like, I stole quality at bats from Clint Hurdle. Like, Clint Hurdle was my teammate in 1986. He was my manager in 92, 93. And he would put a little cue on the lineup card if you had a quality at bat. It's not about getting hits anymore. It's about getting those cues because you know you're going to be in the lineup. And that's sort of how I came up with my whole thing when I speak is, you know what, get great at lining out, get great at hitting balls hard, right? I hit 3 balls on the screws right at somebody and baseball says I suck. That's a trap, bro. Right. And I figured out 20 years ago when I called the batting average Satan, it's evil, right? I can't have a goal where I can do everything right and go 0 for 4. I hit 3 balls right in the screws right at somebody. I beat the pitcher. The pitcher knows I beat him. Pitcher's mom knows I beat him. My batting average comes down like this. I think I failed, and now the wrong me starts playing. And so this is where the trap of baseball is. It's where the trap of life is we let yesterday's bad game play today. And I'm 0 for 4 on opening day, and now I go 0 for 2 the next day. Now I'm in my mind, I'm 0 for 6, and I'm letting yesterday's bad game play today. And this is where I came up with, I guarantee I was the first one to come up with this one, is if you get your players playing every single day like it's opening day, and I don't give a crap mote about me because it's not about me, it's about me helping my team. Those are 2 completely different players than it's all about me. Right. And dude, I spoke, Augie Garrido gave me the best compliment I've ever had in my life. And this guy's the greatest speaker in the world. And I was in Austin, Texas in 2012. I knew Tommy Nicholson, their coach. And I said, hey, man, you want me to speak to your team? He said, Spring, we need you at the beginning of the year because we go 6-0. The last 2 weeks of their season, I didn't know how they were doing. He said, we don't make our conference championship. The top 8 teams made it. They were the only team. Texas, Augie Garrido, Hall of Fame coach,
Right.
5-time national champion. They don't make it if they go 6-0. We said, Augie's not going to pay you. I said, dude, I'll do it for free. I want to meet Augie. And Augie's like, what do you say? Bring him in. What do we got to lose? So I go in there. I actually drove from Austin to Baylor. They were in a hotel, and I could not have spoke better. I mean, I'm the same speech every time, dude. I'm like Milli Vanilli, Joe. I'm a one. And I could have told 16 players to go stand in the corner, and they would have did it when I left.
Yeah.
And I was about ready to leave, and my buddy's like, Augie wants to see you again. So I go back in there. He's like, okay, buddy, we're going to pay you for that. And I want you next year for 3 days. What's your price? I said, I want you to pay me as much as you can pay me that doesn't come out of your pocket. He said, nothing comes out of our pocket. I'm like, good. So I go in there for 3 days the next year, maybe 3 months later, the same exact team with freshmen and not another person on it was one game away from the national championship. He said, you're the best public speaker I've ever heard on baseball. It's the best compliment I've ever had in my life coming from him because he is, and Clint Hurd is. But he said his favorite quote of any coach he's ever heard is, if you get your players playing every day and I don't give a crap what about me, it's not about me. It's about me helping my team. Those are two completely different players. And you get your 25 confident players showing up and playing every day like it's opening day.
Love it.
It's mine. He said that's brilliant because we all know the feeling of opening day, right?
Oh, sure.
I'm 100% confident. Why? Because I got no yesterday beat me up. And
love that.
That's brilliant. And dude, when he passed away, it was brutal, man, because we were buddies and we were going to dinner. And
we lost a great one.
Oh, bro, he taught me so much, man. It's, everybody's like, Spring, man, how do you learn all this stuff? I'm like, dude, I didn't come out of the womb with it. If you say something smart that I like, bro, I'm going to give you credit once and then it's mine.
Yeah.
This is what we do. Now we have our own philosophies. And when I played with Dave Maggott and Lenny Dykstra, Billy, friggin' all these great teammates of great competitors. And this is the whole thing. It's about being a better competitor than you are a player. See, there's no such thing as an overachiever in the big leagues. Dustin Pedroia was not an overachiever. He was a really good player.
Yeah.
Do you know how many underachievers there are? You know how many first-round picks can't get out of A-ball? It's not because of their ability, bro. It's because of their mind and what they're thinking. Yeah. And too many players let their mind get in the way of their ability. And that sounds like a psychologist. I can't spell psychology, bro. I mean, I know it starts with an S, and that's it. And it's like, yeah, usually I said that joke, and like half the crowd's like, what's so funny?
So let me ask you this, because I think this is so interesting. As Brandon pointed out earlier, when you were playing and when we were playing, there weren't these sports psychologists hanging out. We didn't have mental performance coaches and that type of thing. What did that conversation sound like with the Blue Jays? Like, how did that all evolve where you all of a sudden started working with them from a mental performance standpoint? Because you were probably one of the first ones that really kind of called themselves that and really got into that aspect of it.
I might have been the first one that played that did.
Yeah. Okay.
Ken Ravizza was around before me.
Right. Sure.
I met Ken Ravizza, and I'm blanking on the one guy's name with the A's. And, but I met Ken Ravizza. He spoke in Chicago at ABCA, and his opening line was, coaches, if you don't remember anything that I say in the next 50 minutes, you better know this, that players need to know that you care before they care what you know. And I've never heard that before, so I'm texting it because I'm a dumbass, and I'll forget it. And, see, that's one of my things. We give ourselves too much credit for what we're taught. So I let everybody go. I was the last guy to see Ken. And I say, hey, Ken, my name's Steve Springer. Man, that was awesome. I'm coaching with the Blue Jays. And his first word out of his mouth to me was, do you know how many friggin' people ask me if I know you? Because I put what I did on the CD. Yeah. And he was good. And I met a guy named Tommy McCraw when I was 1987, and I'm beating myself up, thinking I had to hit 300 to get to the big leagues. And I do everything right and go 0-4. I do nothing right and go 0-4. And now I'm supposed to compete with confidence. How do you do it? Well, and I figured out you better play every day like it's opening day, and I don't give a crap mode. And you better get rid of the batting average. Batting average, biggest trap in the game. I call it Satan. It's evil. The batting average has no brain. Doesn't know who's showing up. There's not a confident batting average stat and a non-confident batting average. It's one stat. It has no brain. So get the right guy playing. And this guy, Tommy McCraw, every time he was around, I was a stud. He'd come in for 3 days. He was a roving coach, and I would be locked in. I'd carry it for 3 days because I'm a dumbass. I'd forget. But as dumb as I was smart enough to know that when that guy was around, I was good.
Right.
And so in 1987, I brought a tape recorder up to his room, and he was nice enough to talk to me about me and what he thought I need to do to play in the big leagues. Not Wade Boggs, not Tony Gwynn, me. And it changed my life. If I was in my car for 7 years, guys, I promise you it was on, because I love the line that we give ourselves way too much credit to remember what we're taught. And so that gave me the idea. I was a scout for the Diamondbacks for 5 years. I was a national guy. And then I became an agent, and I'm trying to help my guys get a mental game so I can make money, right? And so what I know on audio, like I'm talking into this recorder, the car door would be opening, right? Fastball right down the middle is right down the, you know what? So I let my brother listen to it, and he's like, dude, you clean this up, brother. That's good stuff. And that got my head spinning. So I went in a recording studio in 2001 and just did the whole thing. And I gave one to George Horton at Fullerton, Hall of Fame coach, great baseball man. I didn't even know he was going to listen to it. And he had his whole team listen to it 5 hours before they played Miami in Miami, when Miami was the number one team in the country, and they swept them and scored 10 a game. He said, Spring, you changed the way we think, bro. And I'm telling you right now, guys, stats are the most evil thing in baseball. They make you feel a certain way, man. And if you play every day like it's opening day, and you play to help your team win the game, and you get 25 confident players showing up, and I don't give a crap mode, and it's not about me. It's about me helping my team. Why wouldn't I want the fifth at bat when I'm 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts?
For sure.
I know why. Because my stats are going down. I'm hitting 290. Now I'm 280. Now I'm 270. Or worse, I'm 230. Now I'm 220. And I got the game on the line. I'm letting past experience, either it's today or yesterday, beat me up today. And it's a trap, man. And when you play to win the game, trust me, bro, you got the right guy playing. It doesn't mean you win every game. It doesn't mean you get 3 hits. It means the right me is playing. I got confident AJ Pollock, good player. Non-confident AJ Pollock sucks. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? He didn't play. Mm-hmm. AJ Pollock got my stuff when he was a sophomore at Notre Dame. And he said, Spring, I went to the Cape. I did the 4 things you talked about: walk up, play with confidence, with attainable, go hit the ball hard, attack the inside part of his speed we're looking for. And I was there to help my team win every single day. And it wasn't about me. MVP of the Cape, first round pick. And I've talked to AJ probably twice a week his whole career. And I've never asked him to get 3 hits. I've asked him to be the best competitor on the field with an attainable, go hit the ball and help a team 1,000 times, because the right AJ is playing. And as good as AJ is, he could give you my spiel. He knows what I'm going to say before I say it. Like, why does he call me? Or why do we talk once or twice a week? Because there's something about going 0 for 4 where you lose your memory. It's in our DNA.
Sure.
Yeah. And he texted me a couple of years ago. He said, Spring, it's been a tough 2 weeks, but I will line out 5 times tonight. Because that's what I tell these guys to do. See if you can line out 5 times. Good hitters line out more, right? And I know what he meant, but what he really said was he's still thinking about the last 2 weeks being tough. I said, bro, come on, man. I got a new game, new pitcher, new hero tonight. No part of the last 2 weeks could play. And you're playing another 5 years? Right? Well, what is it? No, it's been a tough 3 weeks. Right. And dude, he's the greatest kid in the world. I friggin' love this guy, right? He said, you're right. He said, I will line out 5 times tonight. I'm like, that a boy. I get a text from after the game. I swear to you, he sent me a text. He said, Spring, my bad. I only lined out once. He went 4 for 5 with a bomb and 2 doubles that night. True story. Said, really? Awesome. Tough 3 weeks? Dude, opening day every single day. And it's not about you. It's about you helping your team. It's impossible to play with no confidence. But what do? We play with no confidence because I'm letting yesterday beat me up today. I'm a Christian. I let yesterday's sins beat me up today. He died for them all, bro. Stop. But we don't think that way. We think it's all about right now. I talked to a 14-year-old kid tonight who punched out twice and got a ground ball. He's 100 pounds away from his man body, right? Too many, and this is the thing about parents, is too many parents put their kid in a microwave instead of an oven. we got to think of it, man. We got to think, you know what? I'm playing this game another 9 years if I'm 14.
Right.
If I'm playing another 9 years, bro, then that little Burger King championship ain't that important when I'm 14.
That's right. So Spring, how do you, so talking to a 14-year-old or talking to a parent and you being a scout, and clearly stats, you've got a good enough vision of the game and what you're looking for, and stats don't matter. So as a scout, though, it's kind of hard. Well, you can see based on body language and all that kind of who's got it and who doesn't. But what are you looking for as a scout? Because, parents think, you talk about the Burger King championship, parents think their kids are going to get picked up at 14, 15 years old, right? They put them in the microwave. But what is a scout for the Oakland A's looking for today if stats really aren't the end-all, be-all?
Well, I talked to Tim Corbin, and Vanderbilt's not panicking if your 10-year-old has a bad weekend.
Right.
But this is what the parents think, right? And
right.
As a scout, if I go watch a game, bro, I'd rather see you line out 4 times and go 3 for 4, 3 ground balls. Like, I'm looking for tools. I'm looking for a good body. I'm looking for body strength. I'm not looking for height. I'm looking for instincts. It's hard enough to play in the big leagues with instincts. If you don't have them, stop dreaming about playing in the big leagues.
Right.
Like when I was a national guy with the Diamondbacks, and I'd see the top 3 round guys, and that was it. But I had a vote on top 50 round guys. And so our area guys would come in and they talk about their guy, that their gut feel guy, that guy that, 40th round pick, but he deserves a chance to prove us wrong. And I would ask that every single player, how his instincts. And if he fudged this much without saying great, I ain't voting for him. Because it's hard enough to play in the big leagues with instincts. If you don't have them, stop playing. All these players, they think they want to play in the big leagues. Next time you watch a baseball game on TV, stop watching like you're a fan. Watch it like you're going to get in that bat, man. Start thinking with the pitcher. It's my second thing I talk about when I speak. Is the first thing is obviously the batting average biggest trap in baseball. Like I said, I hit 3 balls around the screws right at somebody in baseball says I suck. That's a trap. The second thing that gets more players out is they try and hit everything. They're not ready for anything. Is it easier to hit 1 pitch when you know it's coming, or 3 and you don't? If I told you here comes a fastball 100% and you can't put a good swing on it, then go play soccer, bro. We got to be able to do that. But I'm telling you, sometimes it's okay to sit off speed, right? You tell me you're in college and I smoke a bomb or a double my first at bat, and I come up with runners on second and third. You think 2 out of 3 and be a fastball or off speed?
Oh, you're not getting anything if first base is open.
So why am I saying
right?
You're looking for something you're not going to get.
Right.
And this is the whole thing. Everybody's like, oh, Spring, you're a guess hitter. Yes, I am, buddy. But it's not flip a coin guess. It's educated guessing. It's sitting on it. It's anticipating. It's looking for. See, guessing is the same word as anticipating, looking for. And but we think guess, flip a coin. If I told you, I'm going to sit on this guy's off speed, that sounds hitterish. If I said, I'm going to go guess curveball, it doesn't sound hitterish, right? Right. But it's an educated guess. How come we could all hit the breaking ball machine in the cage and it turns invisible during the game? Because we know it's coming in the cage. And this is the whole thing where I talk about watching the pitcher. You don't have 5 at-bats a day in pro baseball. You got 27 minimum. Video on a pitcher 2 weeks ago is great. Watching every pitch he makes tonight is 10 times better. I want to know what he has working tonight. Because if he's not getting that breaking ball over, bro, he's a 1-pitch pitcher.
Well, and those instincts you talk about, Spring, it kind of goes back to something you said at the beginning of this podcast, which is you didn't care what level you were playing at as long as you were playing. And that's how you develop instincts, right? That's how you get that, as Skip Bertman would say, that how to win awareness is you have to play.
100%. I mean, if you're not playing, but if you're not playing, I think you could still play.
No question.
Dude, AJ Pollock is when he signed, he was the first round pick. He played that summer, and then he went to spring training and he busted his arm, missed the whole year.
Yep.
I called him up. I said, bro, we're getting better this year. We're not getting worse, right? Watch the pitcher, start hunting speed, start getting a feel for what the guy's throwing. And he loved it. Go stand, when the pitcher's still in the bullpen, stand off about a foot so the guy doesn't drill you, and start seeing pitches, start taking pitches. See, the mind doesn't know the body's not doing it, right? So if I'm going to visualize or see myself having success, see, too many players, they don't feel that way. Everything's so negative. And if I took half a team and I said, go take batting practice for an hour, and I took the other half and I said, go visualize yourself hitting missiles for 4 minutes off the starting pitcher, and you ask me who I think's had a better game, I'm going to take the guys that never took a bad swing.
Yep.
That's how powerful the mind is, man. But, dude, it's so easy as men to just beat ourselves up. Like, I feel I'm a pretty good guy, like 90% of the time, but yet I focus on the 10% of the shit, of the crap I do, you know, 100% of the time.
Yeah. Well, and you say something that I've heard you say anyhow in the past that I love is the day you say, I don't care what I hit, it's the day you play the game with more freedom. Like, I love that.
It's freedom, and it's freedom from yourself, buddy.
Yeah.
Stats are evil, man. It really is the greatest line in baseball.
Yeah.
Play every day like it's opening day. On the back of this thing, it says compete with confidence.
Love it.
Right? Because we're going to compete every day that we play. If I had a game tonight, everybody that has a game tonight is going to compete. They have to. They're in the game. If you're not competing with 100% confidence, then something's wrong mentally. And it's usually yesterday's game beating you up today, or you're 3 at bats, and now you got a 4th at bat, and you're letting those at bats dictate how you feel. I did it, buddy. I get it, man. I mean, I did it, touched it, felt it. I went 1 for 20, right? If you don't go 1 for 20 10 times, you didn't play long enough. That's like a 5-game series in pro baseball. You know? How many games in a row can you compete with no confidence, and you think you're going to play at the highest level?
Yeah.
It ain't happening.
No, because look, you're going to have, we talk about this on the show a lot, is you're going to have more days than not where you don't have that A game with you. So you're going to have to find a way to compete with that confidence without it, right? I mean, because you're not always going to be, quote, in the zone every day. You're going to have more days than not where you're going to be showing up there with that B game or C game, and you still got to go out there and get the job done.
Well, I know what you're saying there, but I'm telling you, when you change what you think success is, you hit the ball hard, you win. I'm here to help my team win the game. This is not about me. It's about me helping my team. Trust me, you will play with confidence, with the right guy.
Absolutely.
It's one of my biggest pet peeves when somebody says, "Oh, have an even keel."
Right.
I know why you need an even keel, because you care about your batting average. It's going to go like this. But when I say I don't care anymore, dude, I'm going to have 100% keel. And it doesn't mean high heartbeat. It means I will be the best competitor on the field with an attainable goal to hit the ball hard and help my team win every day that I play, because I've changed what I think success is. And that's where the freedom comes from. It's freedom from yourself. When you say I don't care anymore, I'm here to help my team win, 2 completely different players.
Well, and when you make it about the team, what I think really goes into effect and why I like that so much is it takes the pressure off you. Ironically, like when you make it about the team, you now feel that power in numbers. You know, it's not just me that has to do this. It's everybody. And so it becomes a mental thing where it's another kind of mental trick of basically saying, look, it's not just going to come down to me either.
I mentor players. And I get parents that'll pay me some money. Their kid can call me whenever they want to call me for a year. I'll hit with them. We'll do their own video, their own audio, me and you talking about you. And it's one of my things, man. It's like, I want you to play this game tonight, that if you don't win the game, you don't get to have dinner. Now you're pulling for your 25 buddies on the team. You can't do it by yourself. And that's the whole thing, man. It's about when I play to win the game. Like my first 10 years that I played in pro baseball, every single team I was on was in the playoffs. And I wasn't the main cog, but I guarantee you I was that guy that wanted to win the game. My last 4 years, no playoffs, it sucked. Wasn't fun. How do you have fun? You win.
Yeah. Do you define quality at bat? Like, when people ask you, like, what do you define as a quality at bat? What would you tell them?
Well, 90% of a quality at bat is how you feel when you walk up to the plate. Do I know I could hit, or am I hoping to hit?
Right.
If you're in hope mode, bro, you're in trouble. Yeah. I need to know that I could hit. And it's the 8 things or 7, 8 things that everybody thinks is going to happen, you know?
Right.
walk, hit by pitch, hard hit ball. Do I think a tool jam shot's a quality at bat? No. But what's the whole thing? I mean, I remember I spoke to the University of Notre Dame probably 15 years ago now, and the girls' softball team showed up that night. They set me up a thing for the community. I never spoke to girls before. I'm like, hitting's hitting. Well, they bought in, and the word batting average wasn't said the whole year. They had a quality at bat chart, and they led the nation in hitting batting average. See, I'm trying to help you hit your highest batting average. Like I said, the batting average has no brain. It doesn't know who's showing up. When I was with the Blue Jays, I talked them into spending a lot of money on Best Buy gift cards. We had 3 winners per team. 3 winners per team. And we had one guy go 1 for 20 and he won a card. Like, how does that happen? He got 1 hit. He got a couple bunts down. He got a couple runners over from second to third with nobody out, helped the team. And he hit 7 balls right on the screws, right at somebody. He was 12 for 20 in quality at bats. He went 1 for 20. Most teams, he's sitting the bench. He's in our 3-hole. And that guy's name was Kevin Pillar. Right. and the next time you guys think you're getting hosed a little bit, guys, listen out there. This guy had a 54-game hitting streak as a junior in college and did not get drafted, which is baffling to me because you don't luck into 54, bro. You luck into 3. There should have been 54 scouts fired for not turning them in. The Blue Jays took him in the 32nd round, gave him $1,000 as a senior, and he was the second guy in his draft to get to the big leagues.
Was he really?
Yes. Because there's no exact science on how a guy's going to play 5 at-bats a day every day, whether you want him or not. And Kevin Pillar was a better competitor than he was a player. And he had my stuff when he was in high school. He had me speak to his college. So I've known Kevin his whole life, right? And like I said, he's a better competitor than he was a player. We had an annual award with the Blue Jays. Whoever had the most quality at-bats got a big check and a nice Max Back trophy in front of everybody. And we had a guy, David Cooper, who went to Cal, and his favorite, this guy had more quality at-bats than anybody on his team, 500 plate appearances, and he hit 255. But he had 20 bombs and he had 80 RBIs. And his favorite quote and what I teach is good hitters line out more. That made so much sense to him. This guy lined out 1 time a game, right? And he took the same approach into AAA the next year and won a batting title at 365. So I know it's right. I mean, and I don't mean it boastfully, bro. Like I tell these stories not to impress people. I tell people these stories to impress upon people. Why can't this be me one day?
So Spring, outside of Gary the Great, who's the competitor, or who's the one guy that, because I mean, you've played with everybody. Who's the one guy that you just like, man, that dude will cut your throat if he gets a shot?
Well, one of the best competitors I ever played with was Lenny Dykstra.
Okay.
A little bit of trouble now. This guy, like he was him and Billy Bean room together in 1985. And in 1983, when I led the league in hits in the Sally League, South Atlantic League, he led the league in hits in Lynchburg. And we're from the same area. We would drive to spring training every year. He's a great guy, great teammate at the time. And he's like, I remember going to lunch with him. I said, bro, you think you're going to play in the big leagues? He looked at me like I was a freaking idiot. He's like, dude, I'm banking on it. Like, here I am just trying to get out of A-ball, and this guy's got this mindset, right? Dave Magadan was a great competitor. Dave Magadan hit 300 every year. He hit 500 in college. He came to my team in 1983, right? And this guy hit 500 in college, and he hits 336 for us. Your boy hit 338. So I'm like, this ain't college.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, you ain't the head guy. Yeah. So every time I see him, you had a nice year, buddy. But Dave Magadan, I remember because I played with him in AAA a couple of years later, and this guy had 300 every year. And I'm like, bro, what makes you tick, man? He's like, Spring, every at-bat in my mind is a new season. Really? Every at-bat's a new season for you, and every at-bat's the end of my life? Right. I mean, but this is where the discipline in the Greg Jeffries was a great competitor. He got sort of a bad rap. Oh, no, he wasn't selfish, man. He was a really, really intense competitor. and he knew he was good, and I loved him. I mean, there's this, I roomed with Mike Piazza in winter ball. I signed with Dwight Gooden, and what a great guy he is, man. I remember I talk about my CD. I'm like, we're in the outfield shagging, and we both just signed. He's 17, I'm 21, and I'm like, bro, you ain't 500 picks better than me. And he looks at me, he's like, trust me, Spring, I am. I got to the big leagues like 10 years later, and he's there with the Mets, and he's like, Spring, what took so long? I'm like, they didn't want to rush me like they rushed you, bro.
Yeah. It's so tough, though, to have that kind of mindset like you talked about with Magadan, with the whole idea of like every at-bat's a new and that's one of those things. It's just reminding. It's just the reason that AJ, called you up and wants to talk to you after, going through 4 or 5, an 0 for 5 night or something like that is it's like I always say, 80% of coaching is reminding, right? They already know it. You just have to remind them about it and remind them of getting that right mindset. Brandon and I have a friend of ours who's a coach at Mississippi State, and he likes to say the future is perfect. And it's true. It's like you got to just remember it. It's like all that stuff that just happened, it has no bearing on what's about to happen. And if you can get yourself in that headspace, I think it's a really good thing. Hey, I want you to talk, if you don't mind, for a few minutes here on something that I know you're pretty passionate about, and I hope that our listeners, because we have a lot of parents, a lot of coaches that listen to this, is that importance of development at that young age, and really making sure that those guys are learning not only the right mindset, but as parents, we always say, your parents are the first mental performance coach you have, to be honest with you, like as far as helping you assess your day, helping you figure out like what's the right mindset to get into. But sometimes they can be the biggest enemy out there too, when they're, constantly on their kids about that, not performing perfectly. So talk a little bit about that importance of development, if you would, at that younger level, especially.
Well, you hit it right on the nose. The parent's kid's number one coach.
Yeah.
With them, right? I mean, I don't care if you're a plumber, bro. You need to know what I know, what we know, to try and help your kid. You want your kid to be a big leaguer or a college player one day? Let's get the right verbiage talking. Like, if I need a plumber, I ain't calling Mark Trumbo. I'm calling a plumber, right? Well, if my kid wants to be a baseball player or a girls softball player at the highest level, we need to get some sort of mental game. I mean, I remember when Tony Alcabro hired me with the Blue Jays. He said, Spring, if you help one guy, you're worth your money. I said, Tony, if I don't help 100, fire me. I'm not teaching you get your hands here, get your feet here, bro. I'm teaching how to compete with confidence when you're not getting hits. He's like, oh, you're so right. He's like, go to triple if you want to, go to double A, get your butt down there with 16, 17-year-old kids and teach them how to compete with confidence when you're not getting hits. And as far as parents, I get the emails, right? I got a great story. I had a buddy, I played tennis with my mixed doubles partner, club champ, by the way. I'm not going to say that. And I meet her boyfriend for the first time, and he knew everything about me. He knew me for a year, but I never met him. He's like, I'm coaching my 7-year-old travel ball team. I said, nice. I said, so you're coaching the biggest self-esteem destroying sport in the world, right? He's like, what? Well, your 7-year-old makes an area, wants to cry. Their team's cheering on like that. Coach yelling, that's you. This has got to run home with you. So, your 7-year-old who wants an ice cream because he's 7 is going to get beat up 4 times and get ready for him to quit when he's 13 years old, because that's when most kids quit at 13 because of the pressure that's put on them by the one who loves them the most. Us parents and Johnny Testosterone coach yelling at my 7-year-old to win the Burger King championship. And we get interrupted. I don't see the guy for like 2 months. I'm downtown in Huntington Beach watching Trumbo play for the Angels, who's called me his whole career. And I see the guy, and he walks right up to me, and I remembered him, and he's like, dude, you changed my life. I said, what are you talking about? He said, when you told me my son's playing the biggest self-esteem destroying sport in the world, he said, I was so embarrassed that I couldn't even talk. Thank God we got interrupted. 2 months later now, I'm the most confident or the most positive parent and coach on the field. When I hear another coach or a parent yell at a 7-year-old, I cringe. Me and my son go for an ice cream after the game. Great relationship. And my ex-wife, she wants to remarry me because she can't believe it's me. I'm like, all right, buddy, sorry about that one.
That ain't saving your life, bro.
Yeah, sorry about that one. No, hopefully they got back together.
Yeah.
But dude, I shot out that little tweet on Facebook. In 3 days, it got viewed 3.4 million times. What? It went Oprah, bro. It was like, because that's who we are as parents.
That's it.
I wanted my kid to be the next Mike Trout.
Yep.
No, he wasn't. He's a great carpenter right now. I love him. I got a little grandson right now. How about coaching your own kids? Dude, my daughter was 11, and I'm scouting for the Diamondbacks, so I couldn't coach. And I tried to give her a tip. And she's like, Dad, you're not the coach. And I'm like, you're right, honey. Go listen to the plumber. My bad. You're right. So, I mean, I got all-stars calling me, but not my daughter. So It's tough at times, but I think that if we get them in the right hands and we get them in a positive environment, man, and gosh, this is not about winning the Burger King championship at 10. And kids are quitting at 13. And now they're quitting with their little kid body. Yeah. And now all of a sudden 4 years go by. Now they got this great body and want to play again. And they just lost 4 years of instincts. And I don't mean to come off as holier now, bro. Yeah. Because I got kicked out of a 12-year-old all-star game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Freaking umpire was so bad.
It happens.
I said, can you try not to be a factor in the game, please? And he threw me out.
That'll do it.
I didn't even know, man.
Hey, Spring, I think I will be a factor, but you won't. So see ya.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Dude, my boss, I was scouting with the Diamondbacks, and my boss was there, and we had to walk to the parking lot. It was brutal.
Man, I tell you what, it's so true. And, it's not even just like the hitting aspect. I used to work at a baseball academy with the guy, Mike Bocock, real good baseball guy. And Mike used to tell this story about he went to see his niece play soccer. And he goes, I don't know anything about soccer. They're all 5, 6, 7 years old or whatever. They're all out there. He said, they're all kicking the ball around. He said, if somebody made a mistake, I don't know. He said, I go and watch my son play 7-year-old game of baseball. The ball gets hit to him, goes right between his legs. He goes, everybody knows who made a mistake. And he said, now you get coach yelling, you get the parents yelling. And like you say, I mean, these are things that these kids remember, is because, it's one of those things that you're out on an island so many times in that sport. Like like you said, it's the biggest killer of self-esteem is you got to be able to deal with that adversity. And that's why it's so important to have people like yourself who've been, preaching this thing for a while now. And I want you to share with the listeners, because gosh, I mean, if I say it once, 10 times, whatever the case may be, you parents are listening to this, you coaches that are listening to this, I don't care what level you're playing at, you got to get dialed into what Steve Springer's talking about with quality at-bats, with the mental game. It's so important. And it's, get on that website. Spring, where can they go and get that at qualityatbats.com?
Yeah, everything I have is Twitter, is Quality At Bats, Facebook, Instagram. I have an assistant that could steal my identity, Mark Brooks. He's the best. And it's just, it's right. I mean, coupon code MLB40, get everything I made for $40. Right. It's the biggest no-brainer ever. We're spending $75 on a half an hour flip session, and you should. But you know what? If your kid's got no mental game, bro, you're serving the appetizer, you're skipping the dinner. You got to get a mental game. You got to get an approach, and you have to think big picture. And you need to put your kid in an oven, not a microwave, man. You want him playing when he gets his man body, or she. Softball's the same thing. I spoke to University of Oregon girls softball team 4 years in a row. I'm speaking to Indiana State next week, girls softball. It's all about competing. It's about competing with confidence. Right. And when I go speak, I give this wristband that says opening day every day and compete with confidence. And, I wish I could speak to every team in the country, and it's money back guarantee. If a parent says that was just okay, I'll give them their money back if I don't change the way they think. And I don't mean it boastfully, bro. I know when I'm teaching better. I was at a Christian retreat with my wife, all Major League Baseball players, minor league baseball players and their wives. It's called PAO. And probably 10, maybe 12 years ago now, I'm in a 7-man group, 10 o'clock at night. I don't know anybody. I said, my name's Steve Springer. I'm the mental coach of the Blue Jays. And I see this 20-year-old kid just smiling. I said, you got my CD, don't you, buddy? Like, I can't believe that. He said, I can't wait till I tell my brother-in-law you're here. He's going to flip. I said, who's your brother-in-law? I said, Ben Zobrist.
No way.
Ben's got my stuff. He's like, oh, bro, wait till you meet him. I go, well, yeah, I want to meet him. He owes me $20. And I meet Ben that night, and he gave me the biggest hug I've ever had. He said, dude, you changed my life, man. I got your CD. I said, I know, you owe me $20. And we started laughing, and he said, I was 25 years old, NAA, beating myself up, non-confident Ben playing, not wanting the fifth at bat. I heard your audio about bad never's a trap, be the best competitor on the field, help your team win the game. He said, non-confident Ben, stop playing. And 2 years later, he was a major league all-star. He didn't get better physically at 27. He got to have his own way.
Yeah.
If you like your abilities and your abilities aren't showing up, it's not your abilities' problem. It's what you're thinking, man. And this is why we need to think opening day every day. We need to think big picture. We need to put ourselves in an oven instead of a microwave. And buddy, it's right, man. I mean, tell me the alternative.
Yeah.
Oh, it's about me. How many hits did I get? What are you hitting? Oh, what, you hit 3 balls around the screws? Oh, okay, yeah. It's mind-blowing, dude.
It's amazing. And it's one of those things. And again, you know, your parents, your coaches, is you can listen to this on your way to the tournament. You can listen to these CDs. You can't listen to them enough is the thing. I mean, you talked about having, you know, the coach on tape and how often you listen to that. I mean, I think of, you know, DVDs and cassettes and those things that I would listen to as a young player. The more you listen, the more it's going to be retained. And it's one of those things that's well worth the investment. I mean, to get all of that content, when you said that, my mind was blown because I know what all is involved in that. I know what all they're going to be getting for, you know, $40, and it's worth it. And, you know, they'll go out and spend $400 or $500 on a brand new bat. Mm-hmm. And that bat's not going to do anything like that $40 investment on that CD will do.
It's one of my favorite lines is that we give ourselves way too much credit to remember what we're taught. I give you my whole spiel and come back in 2 weeks. What I say? Oh, something about the batting average of marrying an athlete. Like, so your kid might be a big leaguer, right?
Yeah.
That's one of my jokes when I speak, right? You throw a girl a ball and she could pass. How cute she is, bro. I'm thinking about your kids.
Yeah.
Like my wife's dad's like 5'7". I've never met him. Ain't no way I'd marry her if I knew that.
Well, man, we can't thank you enough for jumping on here. We're gonna have to have you back when that movie comes out. That'll be it sounds like a date to have you back on and pump that thing so that we can all find out where that's going to be on and watch that. I can't wait for that one. And I can tell you this, I'm going to get me one of those sweatshirts you got on. So if you got those on the website,
truth.
Yeah,
that is the truth. That's going to happen. Is fire.
We got the baseball version of Rudy coming. I got a producer. I got a writer. He's going to be done with the script by this month. We're going to look at it. Wow. I signed a contract. I want to try to inspire millions of kids, bro. You're not too small to get good grades, right? Kids out there, don't let anybody tell you that you're too small to play this game, because I promise you, when you get your man body, I promise you, you'll be able to shrink 2 inches if you got the ability. It's not about being tall, man. It's about being a baseball player. And I can't recommend high enough the next time you tell me you want to be a big leaguer, stop watching a Major League Baseball game like a fan and start watching like you're going to get in that bat.
Wow. That's the perfect last word right there, brother. I'm telling you, that is, I cannot say enough about what you just said. And I hope every single player, softball, baseball, whatever, heard that one. So, man, thanks so much, Spring, for coming on. And it's just been everything I thought it would be. So we really appreciate you.
Hey, God bless you guys. Thank you, bro.
Want to provide feedback or stay up to date with the show? Visit our Instagram page at Mental Advantage Podcast, or you can send us an email at podcast@mentaladvantage.net. To have John Cullen work with you or your team, please write to him at john.cullen@mentaladvantage.net. Thanks for listening to today's episode.